Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining today's session. Before going
Hare
ahead, let
Krishna.
us take the blessings of our dear deities of ISKCON Sheshadripuram. Sri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki Jai. Sri Sudarshan Bhagavan ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai. Panchatattva ki Jai. Vaman Dev Bhagavan ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Let us offer our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamide. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are discussing chapter 1, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And we are in 41st sloka. So let us read the sloka, and I want to discuss little from the previous sloka also, just for a why we have come to this stage of 41. Yeah, let us discuss this. Shankaro narakayaiva kulajnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hi esham luptapindodaka kriyaha. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. So here what we have already discussed in 40th one, what it says. When there is irreligion and prominent in family, and women of the family are becoming corrupt, and from the degradation of the womanhood, a descendant of Vrishni comes unwanted progeny. So now the question comes: oh, why everyone don't want to offer performances for the previous generations? Why? What is the problem? Now the actual problem is when a person, I mean, when in general, when people are very much engrossed into material, they are totally into material consciousness, and they want to enjoy the senses. The intelligence, the problem, if we use our senses in the wrong way, only for sense gratification, the intelligence stops. The biggest problem is the intelligence. We become lazy. First of all, what are the different types? Let us see. One is intoxication. The other one is gambling, and the other one is illicit sex. These three are the main things that happens. And also there are other things also, like watching unnecessary things on the phone and TV, etc., etc. We waste a lot of time, but mostly the things are intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. When these things happen in general, person becomes lazy. They don't want to learn anything. They don't want to learn from others also. They don't even see, oh, what are others doing? Let them do, that's okay, no problem. But I don't want to do what they're doing. It's like that. We get into a tendency of lazy, and also our intelligence stops. Brain doesn't work. It doesn't want to accept anything that becomes harder for us to do these things. So that is the main problem. And why in general, it is said that a woman is supposed to, when she's in her childhood, she tries to, I mean, the father is supposed to give her love. In the same time, after getting married, husband, she expects, okay, the husband should look after me, he should give me that love. And when in the old age, it is replaced by the kids and the grandkids. That's how a womanhood goes. But the problem here is, when we're totally engrossed in material sense gratification, we are seeing a lot of, especially in overseas, here also in India also, but especially overseas. I have been there for a while. The there are a lot of single mothers that are happening in overseas. Why? Because they only see material sense gratification as the real happiness, but the problem is the man uses the woman and he leaves her when there is some responsibility comes into that relationship. He doesn't want to take responsibility. He want to just leave the woman and he goes away. So that is the main problem. That is why that in general there are some differences within a woman and a man also. Let us discuss that. A woman is in general has more propensity to create, to gain love, and to be a proprietor in general, in different propensities. Again, percentage, not, it is not categorically for all the women. It depends. The propensity decreases in some women also. And for a man, how is it to maintain? He want to maintain, he want to control. That's how a man is. So there is a conflict between a man and a woman here. So a woman in general thinks more about the procedure, but a man is more worried about the result. So since there's a conflict, there should be some common cause for them to stay together, and that can easily be replaced in the form of Krishna consciousness. That is the main uh, solution. That's how we have to think. Otherwise, that is the reason. See, even in metros also this happens. Even in India, in metros especially, people are getting divorced because they are not able to find a common cause. Common cause, yes, it might be there is they may start business, they may do some foundation, etc., etc., helping others. But still, we have seen recently lot of prominent people have got divorced because that common cause will continue for some time only, not for a long time. So that's why it can be replaced easily by Krishna consciousness. Then only what happens? Then they won't. The woman won't get into uh, the woman can continue a proper life, and the family will also have all this like good habits and all that. So it is said that people in general are very eager to receive benedictions from demigods, family members, society, cause such benedictions are it's easy to for material sense gratification. Less intelligent persons consider such material progress to be only goal of life, and thus cannot appreciate the exalted position of pure devotional service to the Lord. Srila Prabhupada says, simple living, high thinking. That's why Srila Prabhupada says we have to have simple living and high thinking. See here in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.20.9, 11th canto, 20th chapter, 9th text. As long as one is not saturated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, one has to act according to the regulative principles of Vedic injunctions. So if we are not Krishna consciousness, yes, we have to do all these regulative principles, we have to offer, but and in 11th chapter, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 41st text, it is also said, O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away, since all such cases of classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. One who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. See, there is a sloka in Bhagavad Gita. Mamaivaamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manashashtan indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. So we have come here to do all hard work with what? With our mind and five senses. So what are we doing? We are utilizing those senses in the wrong way. So that's why if we become Krishna conscious, then we don't have to offer anything to the Lord. So let us discuss why we should offer in the first place. So generally what happens is when see here it says in Srila Prabhupada writes, the offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of the food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful actions. Sometimes why we have to offer, let us say, Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire gross material body, and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. That is the reason why we have to offer, do pujas and all that after the death of our forefathers. That's why, so that at least they'll get human body. That's the reason we give them, because the problem is after death the soul loses its gross body, and it doesn't have any capacity to move uh, to a better loka. There are 13 lokas, right, in the down, patala, atala, sutala, vitala, like that. So they don't have any capacity to move to a better place to get a human body, or at least a gross body. So that's the reason we have to offer them food, water, prasadam, like that. That is the reason. So they get capacity to get to a better loka. That is the main reason behind our offering. But here it says, when we do devotional service to the Lord, since we are part and parcel of the Lord, it's like giving water to the root of a tree. When we give water to the root of a tree, all the branches, the leaves, everything will become nice. They can live in a proper way, right? We don't need to feed the leaves and branches, etc., etc. We just give it to the root. In the same way, we are part, as Lord Krishna says, we are part and parcel of the Lord. So if we do devotional service to the Lord, instead of giving attention to our senses, if we do devotional service to the Lord, automatically our forefathers also are taken care of after their death. This is the actual thing. And Srila Prabhupada says, a lot of generations. I heard that it is 7 generations, this side and that side, mother side, father side, are liberated if we do devotion service to the Lord properly. Maybe, right? A lot of generations get liberated. So that's why we have to do the devotion service to the Lord. But as we have seen in the previous sloka, if we don't do devotional service, we have to act according to the regulative principles of Vedic injunctions. So now let us see what actually happened in the, what is the why this devotional service is important. We have see all these 4 yugas are there. In Satya Yuga, what they used to do was meditation of Lord Vishnu. In Treta Yuga, it was performing of sacrifices. In Dwapara Yuga, they used to do temple worship. And in Kali Yuga, what we are supposed to do is chanting the holy name. Because in Satya Yuga, they were doing 100% religious principles were followed. That's why there was no need. It was easy for them to meditate and on the Vishnu. But later on, what happened? They couldn't. The religious principles following has come to 75%. Next came to, in Dwapara Yuga, it came to 50, and then later in Kali Yuga, it's only 25% of the religious principles are followed. That's why, because our mind is chanchala, it's always moves from one place to the other. That's why we have to do chanting of the holy name, because it is said that there is no difference between the holy name and Lord Krishna. So instead of giving attention to our own senses, we have to give attention to the Lord through the holy name. So that's the reason it's said, we have to chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We have to chant the holy name. Yeah. Sometimes I have seen in my own experience, we may read Bhagavad Gita very nicely, but if we don't chant, we don't understand sometimes properly, or we can't even put it into practice in our life. But when we chant and read the Bhagavad Gita, we can understand very nicely. We accept it, and we can put it into practice in our life. That was my experience. So and I have also got one small information for you. In general, if a person is very envious, who commits a lot of violence against entities in the world, it is said that after death he goes to a hell called Raurava. He gets a body of a Raurava, who is more envious than a snake. That sort of body he will get. The other person who doesn't divide food among guests, old men. Sometimes we see, right, stingy people. They don't want to give it to anybody, guests, old men, or children. They get a body. They get a very bad body. Yeah, they also get a very bad body. So that is the reason they are unable to get out of that body. That is the reason we have to do offering after their death. But when we do devotion service, automatically they get a better body. At least if they are unable to get liberated, at least they'll get a human body. In it, they'll be given birth in a devotees family, at least they can continue their devotion service in the best possible way. So this is where I want to end today. So that is the reason. See, we are not, in general here, people are who are not understanding what Krishna consciousness is. They think, oh, this is for old age, not for young age. We have to do devotion service. We have to at least read. We have to start. Last week also we have seen, we have to do ABCD. Then only we can understand all these concepts. Otherwise, we will continue in the sense gratification, and it will become very hard to become a devotee later on, because the bad habits stay in our head for a long time. So that's why better to become a devotee early. It will help us a lot by doing ABCD. A for association, B for book reading, C for chanting, and D for devotion service and prasadam. So what does the Lord say? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upakritam asnami priyatatmana. So what is he saying? Whatever you offer with love, I will take, and then you can also take. I like that. So when we offer it to the Lord, because we are taking all the food substances from the senses are there, but they gain energy from the food that we eat. So we are not using it properly. That's why we have to give it to the Lord first, and then the senses will get purified. Then reading Bhagavad Gita, doing ABCD will become very easily for us. So that's why we have to follow the devotion service. That will be very helpful to us.